How do you make your blog post more readable? In this video, we're going to go through all the tools you can use to make it an incredible reading experience for your visitors. Let's take a look at this particular blog post in Bramework so we can walk through 13 easy ways to make your content more readable. The first tip is to use headers. Headers give us an outline to the blog post. Your page title will be your H1 or your heading 1. Any headings following should be in H2. So Brainwork makes this easy. We'll highlight and click on H2. The second subheading under an H2 will become an H3. So again, we'll highlight and click on H3. And you'll see how simple this is to do in Brainwork. Our second tip is to write in a conversational tone. Most people online read at a 7th to 8th grade level. So when you write, you want to make sure that your message can be understood by anyone who's visiting your webpage. Writing in a way that makes it feel as if you're writing to a friend helps your reader to have a more pleasant experience with your blog post. So, one bonus tip, if you want to check the grade level of your blog post, visit the Hemingway app. It's pretty intuitive and it will help you to make your content more readable. Now, the third tip is to make sure you have shorter sentences. No one wants to read long, boring sentences online. It can make a reader lose interest. And so it's a great idea to keep your sentences to less than 20 words. In our example, we have a sentence that takes up 2.5 lines. I would say that's pretty long. Let's see if the AI assistant can help us by using the rewrite tool. To use it, you will highlight your sentence and simply click rewrite. The AI assistant has given us a suggestion as it has rewritten the content without changing the meaning. And I think I like it. It took that one sentence and broke it up into two. So if you want to replace it, simply click on the purple replace button, and there we go. Which leads us to the fourth tip of making our paragraph shorter. Because the first thing that readers will do is scan your article and to see if it's something that they're interested in reading. And by having shorter paragraphs, it will keep them engaged because it won't be so intimidating to see a wall of text on an article. A good rule of thumb is when it comes to spacing, do no more than 3 sentences. And if sentences are on the longer side, then aim for 1 to 2 sentences per paragraph. So here we have more than 3 sentences. So let's highlight it and use another tool from Brainwork by clicking on the More button and using the spacer. And we see how it's automatically spaced out our paragraph so that there is no more than 3 sentences per paragraph. That's a really helpful tool if you ask me. For our fifth tip, we recommend linking to other articles that are relevant, whether they're your own links to other content on your blog or external links to other content. It's a good way to break up the monotony of words that a reader can see on their device. Let me show how Brainwork makes that easy. Once you've found content that you can link to, simply highlight the anchor text, and in the toolbar, we will select the link tool. Because the text that we're linking is about freelance blog writing, I'm going to link it to a URL specifically about freelance blog writing. As a bonus tip, if you are linking to an external link, you may want to select new window. And if you are using your own link, you could use current window. And that's how you link. Links are usually bolded and in a different color than the regular text, which makes the link stand out. Just make sure that your color is complementary to your overall blog theme and it's easy to see on the screen. That will make it more readable. Tip number 6 is to use multiple images throughout your post. So in this blog post, we can use Brainwork again to place images throughout the blog post. Simply click where you want to insert an image, go to our toolbar again, and click on the photo icon. This takes us to A dashboard where we can select an image from Unsplash so you can use free stock photos right here. Simply click on the image that you want and click done. As you can see, images can break up the monotony of the article and allow for your readers to truly understand the information that you're giving them. Okay, so now we're at our seventh tip. Don't you hate it when you go to a blog post and you're excited to read it, but then it's so hard to read? The text is so small. Well, if you hate it, your readers are going to hate it too. So we have to think about the mode user experience when we're putting the final touches on our blog posts. As an example, you can see here that our fonts on our blog posts, which includes the header font size and the paragraph font size, makes it easy for anyone to read. For your paragraph text, the ideal font size should be about 18 to 20 pixels. And since we're here, let's look at tip number 8, which is make sure you have a white background. Gone are the early days of the internet where changing the background of your website would be cool and it would represent your personality. It was fun, it was new, but to be honest, really hard to read. Nowadays, you may see a few sites still using background colors, but our overall recommendation is to keep it simple by keeping the background of your website white. It creates a better user experience, and if the reader wants to change the color, most devices will allow them to place their devices on dark mode. Okay, so one of my favorite tips for making content more readable is using bullet points. We'll simply add our colon, return to a new line, click the bulleted list icon, and create a new line for each new bullet item. And when you're finished with your bulleted list, you can return again, keep your cursor where you want to turn it back into a paragraph, and click on the icon one more time. And there you go. Another one of my favorite ways to make your content more readable is to add a little pop of color. This is something that you can do with Gutenberg on the WordPress update. So when I'm closing out a section, sometimes I like to add a color box around the selected text to emphasize a point and to stop the reader from scrolling. Be sure you save your best tips or points you're trying to make for this section. However, don't overuse this feature in the article or it will lose its novelty. So you'll see here, you have to scroll a little bit more to see the next one, which brings us to another point. Tip number 11, to bold text. It's an easy way to make sure a select group of words stand out in your blog post. It's another quick example and simple hack to make your blog post readable. Tip number 12 is to add a quote format to emphasize a point. With Bramework, you can find a sentence that you want to highlight as a quotable moment for your article by simply selecting it and clicking on the quote icon. See how that stands out? And most WordPress website themes make it stand out even more incredibly. It adds a sense of authority to the whole point you're trying to make in your blog post. Plus, it looks good and it's another way to break up the monotony of your article. And to our final tip, choose the right font. If you want someone to stick around and read your full article, it's not the time to play around with fancy fonts. You want the font of your blog post to be clear, simple, and easy to read. Luckily for you, many blog themes come with fonts that will work best for your audience, so you won't have to worry about changing them. So, do you see how using the Brainworks AI assistant will give you the opportunity to go back through your article and finish the final edits? Always think of the mobile user first, and you'll be one step closer to having a highly satisfied reader and a potential fan of your work. Stay tuned for more video content and tutorials so that you can be a power user of Brainwork.